35,000 years ago, something strange kept happening inside a forgotten cave buried deep in the icy wilderness of northern Boreasia. Bears kept going in, but not all of them came out. And one skull, left behind in the frozen dark, holds a hole that no animal could have made by accident. In this frigid land, where winter dictates the rules of survival, every living creature must either prepare or perish. Bears spend weeks devouring whatever they can find. Birds flee south to warmer skies. And humans? They sharpen tools, layer their hides, and stash enough meat to feed a tribe. Some families retreat into insulated huts made of mammoth bones and reindeer hides. Others choose the safety of limestone caverns, sealing themselves away from the storm's fury. But as the first snowflakes hit the ground, a different kind of migration begins. Massive creature cave bears begin their slow march toward ancient shelters hidden in the Uralsk Mountains. One cave in particular was more than just a seasonal hideout. It was a 100-meter stone tunnel, large enough to house multiple bear families through the cold months. And that's exactly what happened again and again. Inside this cavern now, named Gorov's Hollow, archaeologists have unearthed the remains of more than 100 bears, a few cave lions, and other mysterious animals. Most of the bears belong to a species known as Ursan duskii minoris, the so-called lesser cave bear. But don't let the name fool you. Even the smallest among them were bulkier than today's grizzlies, some approaching the size of a modern Kodiak. And they were built not just for strength, but for enduring months in frozen silence. But their endurance had limits. Many didn't survive the harsher winters. They weren't hunted. They weren't attacked. They simply never woke up. Most of the bones in Gorov's Hollow show no signs of violence, see no claw marks, no broken limbs, no butcher's cuts. Just frozen silence, starvation, and nature's quiet cruelty. Except for one. One bear skull stands out among the icy graveyard. It's bigger than most, and it has a perfectly round holorite in the back of the head. Bone. But not just any bone, a bear skull, pierced clean through the back. At first glance, it looks like damage from natural decay. But the edges tell a different story. The upper ridge is jagged and flared, while the lower part curves smoothly, as if something sliced into it with force and precision. It doesn't look like the work of another animal. It looks like a weapon. In fact, the shape of the wound nearly matches the cross-section of flint-tipped projectiles, just like the ones unearthed from the same soil layer as these ancient bear remains. It's not speculation. It's a signature. This bear was taken down by a human. And that might not seem shocking at first. After all, ancient humans, including the cousins we rarely talk about, like the Valterians did, hunt these massive creatures. It wasn't just for food. It was about space. Bears and humans were both competing for shelter, and that meant caves. Back then, permanent structures weren't reliable. Stone and wood could only do so much in the heart of a glacial storm. And so people like the Valterians claimed caves as their own, barricading themselves inside during the coldest nights. The problem was, the bears had the same idea. We know from examining the bear's teeth, specifically the seasonal layers in the enamel, that this creature was killed in the dead of winter. A time when both man and beast were at their weakest, yet most desperate. We'll never know the full details of what happened inside that cave. There's no frozen diary, no pictograph showing the fight. Just silence. But maybe that isn't the point. The point is that moments like this, forgotten, buried, silent, make up the hidden truth of our past. History isn't just made by empires or armies. It's made by individuals. We may never learn the name of the man who held that spear. We don't know if he was old, young, brave, or terrified. But he stood across from a bear and struck. And the bear, too, had a story of its own. One that ended in silence, but left behind a clue carved into bone. Both the man and the beast had lived full, intricate lives filled with victories, losses, and moments that meant everything to them, just like the ones shaping your story right now. Then came a single day, buried beneath layers of snow and time, when those two stories collided. A frozen afternoon. One sudden move. One spear piercing through bone. And a deep, final breath that echoed softly through the cave before fading into stillness. The entire fight may have lasted only seconds, but those seconds were written into history, leaving behind a silent message for anyone who would one day find it. That in a time long before steel or gunpowder, a human perhaps terrified, perhaps calm stood against a living mountain that weighed more than 5 full-grown men, armed with nothing more than sharpened stone and raw will. And that too likely carved by his own hands, with hours of care and instinct was driven, with everything he had, into the skull of the great beast. Whether the creature was awake or deep in slumber, we may never know. But everything about the scene says this happened in the harsh grip of winter, probably near its coldest point. The angle of the impact suggests the bear wasn't facing the attacker. He might have been curled up, his head tucked inward, as he hibernated through the worst of the season. Maybe the spear came from above, as the hunter crept in and struck downward. Or maybe a group of them had surrounded the bear in silence, waiting for the right moment to attack from multiple sides. Either way, try to imagine the thinking behind that decision. We're going to take the pointed stones we crafted from river flint and use them to fight a beast as strong as 10 men. Honestly, it's hard to argue people like this were built differently. In a world without comfort, softness didn't stand a chance. And that's why this story stays with me. Because it's not just about a bear or a weapon, it's about how every buried clue gives us a new glimpse into lives we'll never get to meet. Yet somehow, they still speak to us. From the haunting charcoal art inside the walls of Krovak's caverns, to the fragile, time-worn skeletons of long-gone humans like the Narnak dwellers, each one brings the past a little closer. We exist in a strange, beautiful thread tied tightly to everything that came before us. Because just like them, we're only passing through. There was a world before we arrived. And when we're gone, there will be another. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button and subscribe, it helps more than you know. You can also follow me on Instagram, and if you've got a story idea or topic in mind, drop it in the comments below. I make videos about ancient humans, prehistoric creatures, and sometimes full-length documentaries about forgotten moments in time. So if that's your kind of thing, check out the dozens of other stories already on the channel. This has been another episode of Cavefire Tale Sand. I'll catch you in the next one.